of my favorite Bible messages is actually out of the Old Testament. You know, and it's interesting, a lot of times we talk about, well, the Old Testament represents the law. The New Testament represents grace and love. And so we love focusing on the New Testament and all that it represents. But there are some basic, deep truths when you look at the metaphysics of the Bible and the Old Testament and what those spiritual principles, those underlying universal laws are and how they are represented in the Bible. And this is not a new one, we've discussed it before, but I'm going to bring it up again because it came so clearly in this moment for me, for us to share about how the universe works. See, one of the universal laws is that there is only one presence. This is what we teach in Unity. One presence, one power in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. There's nothing else. So anything other than that as a perception is just our perception. I kind of see us sometimes like a mirrored ball. You know those little mirrored balls that are out there? And we have all these little mirrors that are seeing something through it. And it's like those see-through mirrors where you're seeing something out there. All right? And yet it's also reflected back into you. Because the truth is, it is only you that you see. It's only God that is available to see. And so we are on the inside of this mirrored ball looking out and thinking it's separate, when in fact it is what is inside of us. And it is the God essence that is us. Now, this is, yeah, Tom, you're going to
point something out to you. You're talking about a mirrored ball. Look behind you.
Yeah, and how it keeps showing up differently on the screen. I was noticing that earlier when that slide came on, how the crystal was doing amazing light things up here. You know, I love it that the universe shows us in every way, in every moment, if we choose to see. If we choose to see it that way. And so in the scriptures, Moses goes into the desert. And he is questing and questioning. And he is seeking to find that essence of God, of what is his to do. How many of us feel like we're in these times where we're really looking at what is mine to do? How do I show up in this circumstance? How do I find that God experience in the moment of what is? And so in that, he goes forth, and what is brought forth to him is this burning bush. See, the spirit, the burning bush is that flame, that light of God that is alive within us every moment. It is already here within us, and it is being reflected out there so that he can find and see it, just as we, whatever it is getting an opportunity for us to see within ourselves and feel the fire of that spirit that is always present, always there, that burns but does not consume. And what happens in the midst of that is he is invited to take off his shoes and to recognize that he is standing on holy ground. And we are to understand that what that symbol is for us. The light of God is burning brightly in every moment, in every situation. When we take off our shoes, it represents the places where we've taken a worldly consciousness and we've placed it on our understanding. We've made our understanding something that has a worldly consciousness and requires this outer view. When we take those shoes off, see, our feet are the place that represent understanding. That we are, that the divine is standing under all that is. And we take off that which represents the outer consciousness, the worldly consciousness that has taught us to see things as separate. And we begin to understand, not only are we standing on holy ground, we are the holy ground. We are the holy ground of God. The place where that divine comes through and expresses. And when we are willing to take off those old viewpoints, those old perceptions, those places that we've been given some kind of a covering that would keep us from the depths of our true knowing, from connecting to Mother Gaia in that moment, to connecting to the truth of our own being, to connecting to the all that is, then we begin to, that flame becomes alive in us. And we can say, thank God I see this situation anew. I am able to thank God in the moment of it. See, and the more I operate, we're meant to move beyond the idea where we access that point here and there, to where we live and move from the center of our being in the midst of that reality. We are in the midst of that thank God experience. And as we are in the midst of that thank God experience, thank you, Renee, thank God, is that if we can say that, no matter what is, what happens is in that moment of being willing to say that, the revelations, we're calling forth the revelations of truth that are available to us. When we are willing to open up our perception, see what happens is, we also, in that thank God perception, we let go of the idea that we already know. We know what it is, we've got it all figured out, we have our worldly awareness, and we already have the answer, right? We've been taught in our world that we were supposed to come to it from a place of, I know because it's been given to me in my mind, and I've studied it, and I've looked at it, and I can determine what it is. So that's a different kind of knowing than the knowing that comes from a depth of our being. And that knowing is I don't really know anything in this moment, so let it be revealed. When I let go of that knowing, the deeper knowing of, I don't know all the understanding, but I know that the God in me knows. The God of the all that is, the awareness of that oneness will bring forth a different kind of revelation. It will bring forth that which is no longer having to find a holy ground out there. Because the holy ground that is within me, the flame of spirit that is within me, will bring forth my understanding and awareness by my willingness to step into that moment and claim it and know it. Now, what's really important about this for us is the idea that we begin the process by saying, thank God. Let's say it again. Thank God. Thank God. So whatever shows up, we go, thank God. Now I want you to imagine yourself for just a moment dealing with one of the circumstances you faced in your life this last, week or two or month. All right? Because we've all had various circumstances, Life is not necessarily always show up in the way we think it's supposed to show up on a given moment. All right? So I want you to think of one of those, and I want you to see yourself with the immediate reaction of, thank God. All right, you can laugh. It's okay. But it's like, a lot of us maybe didn't show up that way the first time round. All right? So you get to replay it now. You get to replay it. And I want you to invite yourself into that place where you begin to say, all right, what would it look like? What would it feel like inside of me? What if the first reaction I have, the first words out of my mouth, the first place I go in my being is to say, I don't really know anything about this, but I can stand on the ground of being, the holy ground of God's presence, of that divine light that I am, of the essence and fullness of all that I'm here to be, in the multi-dimensional experience of who I am, and I can know that God knows. And I can say, thank God, because it is going to be revealed.